Good day, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of the Garycast, the number one podcast for all Malaga fans. I am Luke Chambers, your host for this evening, where we will be diving into this weekend's trip to Elda, where we'll come against relegation threatened and low on confidence Eldense. However, one team that isn't low on confidence at the moment is the Garycast team, still up on cloud nine after back-to-back wins. I am tonight joined by my very good friend, Mr. Paul Henahan. How are you, Paul?
I'm very well, Luke. Thank you.
Also, I am joined by mi hermano, Chris Marquez. How are you, Chris? How's life on the Costa again?
I think still the same. Oh, yeah. No, wait. Yeah, good. It's Thursday now, right? It's Wednesday.
You do this every time.
I know.
I think people get the gist.
And I'll keep doing it because I
Still
can.
buzzing? We're all still buzzing for the weekend, guys?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Can't wait. No, I always do it because if something very important happens tomorrow, like, I don't know, Malaga gets bought by QSI, and we don't talk about it in the preview show, you know what I mean?
To be fair, though, mate, I think if we got bought, we would have to have an emergency meeting and an emergency podcast. Or, however, guys, you do know that we have socials. We have Facebook, Instagram, X, some weird thing called TikTok, apparently.
We never had an emergency meeting.
We'll always find a way. But just a little bit, just an update on Malaga. So Malaga have been given an allocation of 335 tickets for this Sunday's game. It always baffles me how ticket numbers are given, 5 days before a game for a trip, the best part of 500 kilometers away. It's bonkers, and how anybody can work in that time scale, I don't know. Paul Henahan, do you understand the Spanish ticketing system?
No, absolutely not. I know that there's a lot of talk about Spanish fans not travelling, but when you're a club as big as Malaga and you've got a lot of travelling support and getting an allocation as measly as that, then and in the time frame as well, it's just a bit bonkers.
Chris, do you think this mere number of 335 tickets is anything to do with the fact that Eldense need to win this game? No other ifs or buts. They need to beat Malaga and also need to beat Malaga quite comfortably.
Yeah, there's a few questions I have. One is, for example, there are a few Malaga fans who are traveling every week. My question to them is, how do you pay it? And how? Don't you have to work on Monday? I just don't get it. I have so many questions, and sometimes I see them walking, and shall I ask them how they do it? And I think, no, that's a strange question. If you don't know someone, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, you're totally right.
But
you're totally right, Chris.
There's a guy with a beard, and he's always in every stadium.
Yep. They're in every stadium. They're always on social media. You see them in Lorens later all the time. I mean, I thought we had a tough gig, Paul, flying thousands of miles every 3 weeks, spending all that money. It's a tough gig, sporting Malaga, but we would never change it, would we?
No, absolutely not. And it's part of looking forward to it, isn't it? You've got a trip to look forward to in 3 or 4 weeks. It costs a bit of money, but yeah.
I mean, for us, we fly from our generally cold countries down to the south of Spain, to the Costas, to usually see the sunshine. I know it's not always been the case more recently, but for these guys are going up north to the deepest, coldest, can we say, and quietest parts of Spain. So, again, absolutely unbelievable turnout from these Malaga fans week in, week out.
Even 8 hours in a bus.
Yeah, that's what I find strange. I mean, we can fly in 3 hours, Paul, 2.5, 3 hours, and enjoy it. Whereas sat on one of these, I mean, Matt, obviously, when Matt went to Vigo last year, what was that, 14 hours? Tarragona, 9 hours in a shared car.
But that's playoffs, you know what I mean?
I know, but it's still a
still far away.
A very, very long way. But so tonight's show, we will start with this weekend's Segunda fixtures. Paul, I believe you've got them with you.
I do indeed, yes. So Friday night we've got an Andalusian derby in Cadiz, where Almeria take on Cadiz down there. On Saturday, Castellón travel to the Basque Country to take on Mirandés. Sporting Gijon host Deportivo. Cordoba make the trip north to Burgos to take them on. We've got the big one at the top of the table clash there at the Martinez Valero. Levante make the short trip down the coast to take on Elche. And Real Zaragoza are at home to Cartagena. And on Sunday, Racing take on Oviedo. Oviedo going that travelling east to take them on. Albacete take on Huesca at the Carlos Belmonte. Our trip is up to Elda to take on Eldense. And Ferrol travel to the Canaries to take on Tenerife. And then on Monday night, Eibar have the long journey south to take on Granada. So that's this week.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Granada 39.
Two fixtures. What really stuck out for me there is obviously the one at the top of the table, Levante Elche. That'll be one hell of a derby game. But also the Tenerife versus Ferrol game. Going back to the previous show, when we mentioned Levante scored on the 95th minute to take 3 points off of Tenerife. If they would have got that 3 points, they'd be 4 points away from Real Zaragoza. No, somebody down there. With a favourable home tie to Racing Ferrol, they could really, really have been on the march. And it wouldn't just be Eldense some teams would be looking at.
Do you remember, Luke, when we recorded the episode when we played Racing Santander at home?
Yes.
That they were 9 points ahead of everyone, or 10.
Yep. And we both said...
And we had the Racing Santander fan on, Andy Wooding. We're flying. This can't go wrong. This can't go wrong. They're third.
And it really went wrong last weekend when they got beat against Cartagena. Really wrong. But after the previous victories, are we that bothered about any other team now? I mean, by that I mean do our jobs, we stay up.
No, just have a draw next weekend because we can, and then a draw is enough for me. Take a point and
yeah. I mean, I said it the weekend, Paul. I don't know if you agree. For me, well, to be fair, I said before the Granada game, beat Granada, we are safe. Not mathematically, no, but let's just remember something we will speak about shortly. We beat Eldense 3-0 at home. So in Spain, obviously, for anybody who doesn't know, it's all about head-to-head. Goal difference is irrelevant unless the head-to-heads are the exact same, I believe. We beat Eldense 3-0 in La Rosaleda. So effectively, Eldense need to beat Malaga 4-0. And then they need to then win the remaining 3 games. And I just can't see it happening, guys. Like, for me, Malaga are safe. We're safe.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a point does us. But it's also, I mean, you're looking at the other teams there. Zaragoza are 5 points ahead of Eldense, and they've still got to play Cartagena. So you think that's going to be 3 points straight away. So that gives them another Eldense another 3 points to catch up on them. We've also got Sporting Gijón that are down there below us as well. They've still got to play Cartagena and Ferrol.
Yeah.
So that gap between Eldense and the other teams above them, it gets wider. So I think Eldense, I don't think I've got much chance of getting out of that bottom 4 now with the fixtures that the other teams just above them have got. And if we get a draw, that gives them 2 points less that they can achieve out of those last games. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think we mentioned in the previous show about the confidence of Eldense as well, Chris. I think it was roughly 2 months ago. They had a stage where they won 4 out of 5 games and had a very good draw as well. Since then, they've actually only won 1 in 8 games. They got battered against Almeria last week, 5-0. Surely their heads are up their arse and they know they've got a very, very, very tough job trying to stay in this league.
Yeah, but there's also another thing we forget about always. Because we are 15th on the table, which means Castellón is under us.
Yeah.
Sporting Gijón is under us, and Zaragoza is under us.
I thought this earlier. We talk about ourselves and that there's teams in worse positions than us.
Yeah. Eibar are under us as well.
5 points.
And I don't know if you guys saw it last weekend. Eibar had another 2 players sent off. The form's horrific. They can't beat teams other than Malaga. They really, really got to be looking over the shoulders. But like you've just mentioned then, Paul, maybe the fixtures of Tenerife and Eldense, the teams around them, it may have just come a little bit too late for them again.
And another fun fact is that we are 15th, but we have the same amount of points as Eibar, Cádiz, and we're just 2 points behind Burgos and Albacete.
Well, I said jokingly on Saturday. I mean, I'd had a hell of a lot of beer, but it was a joke. So Malaga is it 9 points above relegation?
Yeah.
And we're still talking about relegation. We're only 10 points outside the playoffs, guys. Can we talk about playoffs?
13 points off the playoffs.
Is it 13?
Yeah.
The dream's over.
Almeria, obviously got 3 points.
Yeah, of course, Almeria won. So, unfortunately, mathematically, Malaga cannot get promoted this season. It may come as a huge surprise to everybody. We're only taking the piss last weekend.
Yeah, but we can't get promoted. But I mean, we could end up 11th.
Yeah,
and that would be even strange.
I've got my. I'm waiting till the end of the season because, as Paul very, very well knows, I put my predictions out on X a couple of weeks ago and I got battered for it. And we're not too far off these predictions, so I may be a smug little character back then. But looking back to Christmas time, guys, the 18th of December to be exact, we fucking hammered Eldense 3-0 thanks to goals from Antonito Cordero, Nelson Monte, and Kevin Medina. Anything cool you remember about that night, Paul?
I thought we were, if I remember rightly, I thought we were very good in the first half. I think, did we not get 3 goals disallowed in that game as well? One was a corner
that was going to be the main bullet point. VAR was not our friend that night.
No, well, having looked back on it, I think they got the last one right. I think Dion's left toenail was offside when it went across, and I can't remember who put that in. It was a Lurubi, I think it was scored. But the second one that got disallowed, which was after the corner had gone out for the first one, I think Einar had come in and bumped into a defender just marginally, and that goal got ruled out as well. So yeah, but I mean, it was
your memory is fantastic.
I rewatched it this afternoon.
Now you're saying this, it's all coming back to me. So you watched it back.
I remember the goals. I think the free kick was the Nelson Monte one where it went in and the boy took a fresh air shot and it went into the far post and Monte headed it in. But looking back on it, we were quite dominant in that game. Talking about the Granada game, we've been dominant, but that was scoring 3, having 3 disallowed. The Aragoman set off as well, obviously, just before half time, I think.
I think if I remember, this were the first team to come to La Rosaleda where we all totally agreed and turned around and says these are shite.
Yeah.
And they looked like they were going to be in trouble back then. It was, I believe, a midweek game leading up to a very impressive win in Sporting Gijón as well. Chris, was you at this midweek game?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is there anything this season?
Is there anything cool you remember about this game in particular?
It was a midweek game.
If you remember
something, but
when I mean cool, it's probably to do with a shit player doing something. So obviously remember the Lorens Zuniga touch last season. No, not Juanpe. If you remember, Rocco Batterina hit an absolute thunder bastard from about 35 yards, hammered against the post. This was going to be goal of the season. It obviously didn't, and Rocco did not go on to do anything else in his Malaga career. But that is the one very cool thing I remember about this game.
If I remember correctly, was that the first touch for Malaga?
He had a pretty nice goal as well, which also could still be Malaga's goal of the season.
The Cartagena one, yeah. Well, I will give him that. We'll give him that. But yeah, as mentioned before, we hammered Eldense 3-0 in La Rosaleda. It could have been 5-6 or even 7-0, but it wasn't. With all that said, let's look ahead to the weekend's all-important Let's look ahead to this weekend's encounter with Eldense, but let's do this from a friend of the podcast, an expert, shall we say, on the Segunda Show podcast. It is, of course, Alex Fitzpatrick.
Was so important for them in terms of survival, a game that they thought that they could pick up points from, and they walked away with nothing. As a result, the gap has grown between Eldense and the rest, and the writing is very much on the wall for them. But there is nothing more dangerous than a cornered beast, and they all are cornered because they know that they need to come out swinging and they know that they need to win. They will generally play either a 4-4-2 or a 4-3-3. Sergio Tuño in central midfield. Diawara also very good for them. Javi Yabrez on loan from on loan from Mallorca, and their MO, the way that they play, is basically very dogged, very difficult to play against, quite defensive, but they will rain the crosses in, particularly from the left-hand side, where Mark Mateu will be crossing the ball repeatedly from left back. I would not be surprised to see him finish with the most crosses in the game by a country mile. And on the right-hand side, Victor Garcia will be reining them in from that side, although less so than Mateo on the other side. So if you can deal with that aerial bombardment and all of those crosses, then you should be fine. All you need, Malaga, is a point to be safe. That's Malaga travelling to Eldense this weekend, Sunday afternoon. Best of luck, guys. Just 1 point to get yourselves over the line.
Thank you as always, Alex. And if you are a follower or a listener of the Spanish Segunda podcast, I could not recommend it more, guys, to learn and follow all 24 teams in this division. Guys, what do we think about what Alex has said? Surely we have to feel confident going into this game. And a little side note that I made then regarding plenty of crosses coming in, I've got no issues with that. When we've got Aynard, Nelson Monte, currently Murillo, if he's playing a right back or anything, I have got zero issues with crosses coming in, Paul.
No, absolutely. That's exactly what I've just written down there. If Murillo plays like he did last week, we've got Nelson Monte and Einar in the middle there, and Danny Sanchez on the other flank as well. Fullbacks have been playing really well. I think we can counter that. Counter the crosses actually coming in, and if any do actually come in, then we should be well equipped to deal with them. And also, Alfonso Herrero coming for balls left, right, and centre as well. He's not one of his weak points, to come out and grab a cross if it's too near to the 6-yard box.
Exactly, it's definitely one of our strong points. And Alex mentioned the words dogged and difficult there. When I've used these words to describe teams before, it generally means that they're not very good. They'll try and grind out a result. This Eldense team need to win. They've got to do something different to what they used to doing.
I'm very happy for your translation because I really didn't understand what it meant.
I did think, why am I asking Chris what the word dogged means? I thought this is quite dangerous.
Yeah, I would have said something else probably.
He knows.
But I think this is the most boring season with Chris Marquez. I can't even believe like Carl still has the Chris Marquez fan club because it is so boring.
I think it was the sport, what is it even called? Sport social, sport direct thing. I think you felt you had to tone it down, didn't you? The sex talk, the drugs, the rock and roll.
Oh no. I don't know why, actually.
You're getting older, Chris.
There's
more grey hairs.
We had some
here.
complaints.
Marissa's here.
Yeah. There were some small complaints, I remember, through social media.
Forget about complaints. We don't need them. But the importance of securing survival going into the last 3 fixtures, it will be a great time to reward a couple of Malagueño players. Like we said, a couple of minutes in the first team. The more experience they can gather can only improve.
No. Maybe after you get the point.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, not this week.
Eldense already.
No. Let's get safe first, and then, as I say, the experience for them players. Paul, would you like to see a couple of Malagueño players in the last 3 games if we survive?
Once we survive, yes. Yeah, no, it gives them that experience, as you say, and they're stepping, as like I said in the last one, they're stepping up a level as well. So it gives them that valuable experience of playing at a higher level to enhance their own careers.
See, I'm stuck on this one, to be honest. Does our league position justify our team's performances this season? I mean, as a newly promoted team, have we actually been that bad? I'll be honest. I think we were a decent striker away from a top 10 finish, Chris. I don't know if you think that.
I don't agree. I don't agree at all.
No?
No, because I don't think that a striker, only a striker would give you 20 goals. I don't believe that. Because a striker, the ball needs to get to the striker. And I think that's the biggest problem we have. You can put, I wouldn't say Haaland or Salah, because those might be might be scoring goals, but you can put let's say Luis Suarez from Almeria there. If you don't get the ball, you don't score.
Yeah. I could definitely see that as well. I just think someone with more quality. I mean, Dione, I know we like him on here. He is what he is. He's a
I
35.
also do think that Pellicer's system of play, but that's a question I wanted to ask you because I don't think we have to go too deep into Eldense, do we?
Potentially. Paul, what would be your thoughts? Like, have we had a good season so far?
First half of the season I thought was phenomenal in terms of coming straight up and getting those 30 points. We did really well, I thought, and defensively we were sound. We fell away, obviously, after Christmas, and we then found ourselves slipping down the league. But I have to agree with Chris there. I think there was a lot of chances. We created a lot of chances in the first half of the season, but didn't have a striker. But in that second half of the season up till now, it's creating the chance. Up till last weekend, creating the chances for me was what was missing. And if we had somebody to create chances and somebody to stick it in the net, we wouldn't have been relying on defensive performances to try and get points, and we'd have taken the pressure off of the defence. But I think it's been a fair season. I think we're probably now, having had the two back-to-back wins, I think we're probably where we probably deserve to be.
Yeah. I mean, we've obviously had luck ourselves, but the three fixtures, what jump into my mind is conceding the 96th minute to Almeria, the Manu Molina fucking wonder goal, own goal against Oviedo in the 93rd minute.
Season, by the way.
The Huesca goal in the 97th minute. There's 5 points there. Yes, you can look back at fixtures.
You can also say the Cartagena last second goal.
Yeah, exactly.
We can also work the other way around. I mean, it goes both ways a bit because Oviedo at home, Oviedo gave us football lesson.
But we missed the 94th minute penalty.
Sorry?
We missed the 94th minute penalty in that game, didn't we?
Yeah.
It swings and roundabouts, guys.
There as well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, you look at every fixture and say, what if that happened? What if that happened? It don't matter. It happened. For me, it's been a decent season. Mainly, like you said, Paul, the first half. My quote at the beginning of the season was, I don't give a fuck if we survive by 1 goal. Survival means so much to Malaga this season. And I do believe we're going to do it quite comfortably. I can see us going to Eldense and winning. I see no issues with us beating Sporting and Burgos at home. I think Elche will absolutely destroy us in the second, because they're going to be. They might actually win the game, that league. Might win the league that game when you look at the fixtures coming up.
So I have something, because I've seen people already on social media putting out their lists of who's naughty and who's nice, who's staying next season, or they should keep next season. So we're going to do this very quick. Alfonso Herrero, Luke.
Yeah, 100%.
Paul?
Absolutely.
Keeper. Okay. Carlos Lopez.
Yeah, always. I like Carlos Lopez.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he's developing. So yeah, need a decent backup.
Okay, Nelson Monte.
Yep.
Yes.
Einar.
Yep.
Yep, as well. Yep.
Okay, and I didn't give my opinion to anyone, but I agree with all of these 4 we did already. Alex Pastor?
Yes.
I think we could do better as a backup.
I would keep him. I think he's good. Diego Murillo.
Yes.
Yes, on the back of his performances recently.
Reliability.
Yeah, and he's developing. Yeah.
Victor Garcia.
Contract go in at the end of the season. Probably allow him to leave.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Here comes a difficult one, maybe. This for me this is very easy because you know how I feel about him. Dani Sanchez.
Yeah, stay.
Yes, absolutely.
His season's justified it in my eyes.
Joaquin Gabilondo.
Yes, unless there is anything better out there, I don't mind Hocking as a backup.
Yeah, me as well. Yeah, you might get somebody better, but yeah.
This would be my first maybe go if you find something better. Puga.
Yeah, Puga.
Yes, I would keep him. Yes.
Me too. Luis me.
Yes.
Isa Marino. Yeah. Oh,
Absolutely.
wait. Luis me? No.
He's 33 now, isn't he? So, is there a better option? I would keep him if we couldn't get somebody better, but he's now at that age as a holding midfielder where you think.
I think sometimes we've made the mistake of getting rid of experience when we cut leaving the Gennaro last season, just having in the squad if need be.
Yeah.
Okay. It's going to get more difficult. Dani Lorenzo.
Yeah, I think after the injury, he deserves his chance, but he wasn't good before the injury.
It's if we can keep him fit or not.
Yeah. I would keep him.
And how many players can we say that about?
Well, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wait a second, because the difficult players still have to come.
Mm-hmm.
Ramon.
Yes, but running out of patience.
Do you cut your losses? Yeah.
I would say no.
Tough one.
He's going to get injured again, I think.
Yeah.
Manu Molina.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say yes as well.
I would keep him as well.
Yeah.
Juanpe.
No.
Sangali.
No.
Aaron Ochoa.
Yes.
This one is your choice, so not what's been decided already. Antonito Cordero.
I would love to keep Antonito.
Yeah.
He, as I've mentioned 1,000 times, he gave me the best footballing night of my life. But I'm also happy to see Antonito go on to hopefully progress.
Lobete?
Yeah, 100.
Yeah. We recently, the last couple, one game in particular, he wasn't great, but he's played well enough to justify that, I think.
Giannis Romani.
No.
Easy one. La Rubia.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here comes a difficult one again. Haitam.
No, see, I've got a bit more patience for Ramon. The Haitam, for me, the Haitam's gone, unfortunately.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I don't think once he's been playing, he's not produced enough for me to be able to say yes and keep him over these injuries.
If he could have got the loan move to Marbella before he got injured, that would have been fantastic for him to get minutes. And now he'd be ready for Segunda next season. But he just missed too much football.
Rocco Baturina?
Nah, I'd pay for his ticket now.
Chupe?
Yeah. We've got to put faith in Chupe.
Yeah.
Okay, here comes the two most difficult ones. Let's start with Kevin Medina.
Not for me.
Yes.
No, for me it's a no. It's a clear no.
I don't know. He's not. I think Kevin would struggle knowing he's not going to be the star because he's not. He's never going to be good enough for that.
Yeah.
And I think he'd want a lucrative contract. And again, he's not good enough for that. But I would like to see him stay. I don't know. Maybe it's the Matt Harrison thing with it. It's the romance of Kevin.
Matt Harrison said that he should go.
Yeah. I know Matt speaks the truth about Kevin. End of the day.
Yeah. Even the question was not the question if we should keep him for Matt. He wanted to be on this podcast just to ask you guys what would be his next club or even league.
For me, I think we've joked about this a few times, but Cyprus. Yeah,
Cyprus,
Cyprus. It's like the back door for Spanish Segunda players, isn't it? I guess
for Europe, for players in whole Europe who don't play well.
I mean, there was the Granada link, wasn't there? There was the Granada. They're not going to go back for Kevin. No chance.
I mean, look, if you're being really honest, the moment you see him in Cyprus, you're saying already for yourself that his quality is not good enough.
Yeah. You know, somewhere what would be perfect for him? I can't see it happening because there would be a drop in wage, everything. Marbella. Kevin Medina playing for Marbella would be perfect. 1 for himself, 2 for Marbella, and 3 for Matt Harrison, living around the corner. Everybody's happy.
That's a really good one, actually. Diony.
This is hard.
I
Can I
know.
give him a coach? Can I give him a coaching job?
No.
I think we should
I would
keep
keep him.
Dione because
would-
if not, we have one striker, and that's
Well, yeah.
Chupete. Therefore,
it.
we'd have to sign what, another 3? And I just think
I
there's
would keep
too
him.
much of a risk for that.
I would keep him on that basis as well, yeah. And even if he's not going to be playing regularly as the main striker, he's a good option off the bench. We don't have any other options at the moment.
Yeah, and
I'm
although
assuming
we
this is on
don't
the
see
proviso
it,
limits.
although we
assuming
don't
this
see
is on-
it, Dione's what, the record goal scorer in Primera? He can put the ball in the net. So therefore, Chupete can probably learn quite a lot off him in terms of relaxing in front of goal.
Yeah, but I'm
Yes.
assuming this is all on the proviso we don't sign anybody.
Yes.
We still have one person to talk about. He's 51 years old.
I knew this one would come in.
Sergio Pellicer.
I'd rather wait till the end of the season to answer this one.
No, you have to, because we're going to ask it again at the end of the season.
I just don't think now is the time to be talking of that situation. We're on a high. We're happy we survived. We're going to survive.
We're still happy. Would you keep him or let him go?
I love Sergio Pellicer, but it probably is time for a change to take us to that next level.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's been too cautious up till now. We've had to go for it in the last couple of games, and he's done that. But why couldn't we have played like that since Christmas?
Yeah.
I think it's time. I like him as a person a lot. I like him as a Malaguista. I think there is no bigger Malaguista than Sergio Pellicer. But I think his football is too defensively and is too much based on keeping yourself in a league rather than going for something else.
Something what would work fantastic, and I can't see it happening, he's still young enough. If he could move upstairs to like a head of development or something, like you said, Chris, he knows the club so well. He's worked with so many youth players. He can oversee everything. The club means everything to him, but he's still young enough. He'll go on to a different job, won't he? For sure.
Yeah, after Malaga, he went to Fuenlabrada. That didn't go pretty well.
Exactly.
But
I enjoyed that, Chris. That were quite random, and I enjoyed that.
And we're all on the same wavelength as well, which is good.
So whilst we're talking about, maybe not so much stats, but just to add to you guys' thoughts on our season, another clean sheet this weekend for Alfonso Guerrero and our defence. That's now 16 clean sheets, which is fucking unbelievable. I'll start with Don Alfonso Guerrero. What a great season once more, Chris. What words have we not used for Don Alfonso?
Well, here it comes. Because I've been thinking about this, I have my doubts that he's human.
I'm glad you said that. When you said I have my doubts, I thought, no, this is classic Chris, this.
I have my doubts that he's human. So there is a secret going on behind the doors. You guys know it already, but we are having, through our new platform, which will start soon, I'm just saying it now, I don't care anymore, an interview with a player. And I hope it's Alfonso Herrero. Not because I really like him, because I really do as a person. And I think he's a masterclass goalkeeper. But I want to pick him to see if he's not a robot.
You heard it first, guys. Chris Marquez wants to poke Don Alfonso Herrero. I would say don't injure him. I would say don't injure him, but if we are safe by then, feel free to do as you please.
But that will be my first question. Are you human?
Yeah. But guys, he also needs a defense in front of him. I think there's been so many positives to take from Malaga's defensive work this season as well, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely. As a unit, they've been fantastic. Yeah. It's just the clean sheets aren't just down to him. And that first half of the season, I think a newly promoted team, we were defensively solid. We lost that slightly after Christmas, but I think that's been coming back again in the last few weeks.
How hard The main question I have with Alfonso Herrero is how hard will it be to keep him in La Rosaleda, and how hard will it be to keep David La Rubia in La Rosaleda next season?
Yeah, I mean, if
Yeah.
there's interest, that's where the real questions will be answered. I mean, the good thing for those guys is that they love Malaga, they love La Rosaleda, they love the club. So I guess if nobody comes in for them, we're safe. But I mean, I'm not being funny. For me, Alfonso Herrera walks into a lot of La Liga teams.
Yeah.
A
But
lot.
they both are coming to an age where you have to take a step up, don't you?
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Yeah.
I think we've done Alfonso. The draw for him with Malaga is he's been a journeyman. He's never settled anywhere, and now he's like the king of Malaga. He's got the key to the city, effectively, hasn't he? But on that, I mean, finally for tonight, I guess, how do we go about Sunday? Do we approach with caution, knowing that a point will confirm survival, or do we go and have a right good go at Eldense, knowing that we are the superior team, knowing that Malaga are staying in the division for a reason, Paul?
Maybe for once, and that is the thing that we might try and do for once, is start the way we started against Granada, same players, no rotations, because all those rotations are making me a bit crazy, but I also think for a player it's not nice to rotate that much. And if there's one big mistake Pellicer did this season, was too many rotations in his striker position, and too many rotations on the pitch, and too many rotations on the formation and tactics.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one thing I think we've spoken about previously as a group, that the rotations have probably not caused the problems, but not helped the situation where we've been struggling to break teams down and have cohesive play. You know, people are new players are coming in, other ones are going out. You need a consistency, and I think that's contributed towards the second half of the season, whereas in the first half there was a bit of consistency there.
Yeah, I even wanted to take it a bit step further, because I think if you change your formation towards a team you play, you put yourself in, you're adapting your team towards another team, which make you inferior to the other team.
Yeah,
And in my opinion, what you're saying basically to your players is you're not good enough for to play against them, or this player is better against them. So you already start with 1-0 behind.
let the other teams worry about you.
You've got to adapt to some games as well. I mean,
I don't think so. I think you have to always play your own game and play your own
do. But I mean, I've played in many teams at all levels, and with my previous team, Hatfield, we won every league and got to a level where we wasn't the best team in the league anymore. And for that, you had to adapt your game in certain games. So therefore, the 5-3-2 in A-Bar, I had no issues with that. A tough place to go to. You had to try something different. It worked to a degree. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying, Chris. There's been too many formation changes. And for that, I don't want to see any change going into Eldense. I'd be happy with that 4-4-2. I would be happy with that exact team. That team is good enough to go to Eldense. And for me, Sergio's...
that team would be good enough in a 4-4-2 to go to Eibar or to Elche or to anywhere. Because the moment you change your formation or you rotate your formation too much, you're adapting to other ones. That says something to players, because players are not stupid people. They're on the pitch and they see that they're going from a 4-4-2 to a 5-3-2-1.
It's just for me going into that Eibar game, the pressure and the noise what were coming on to Sergio Pellicer at that point, you had to do something different. Had to try something different.
I just don't agree. I can't agree. And I think,
again, this is coming from a playing football background. Like,
me too. I've played football as well.
I know, but
and the seasons that we played best, and we ended up being a champion 3 seasons in a row.
Yeah, exactly. You can play the same formation when you're winning things. When you're not, that's when you've got to use your brain. That's when you've got to start thinking football.
Then you still have to believe in yourself, is my opinion.
You do, but say for example, Malaga won Primera last year. They played 3 centre forwards. Do you go into Segunda a higher quality of football, a higher level of football with 3 centre forwards? No.
I think that you have to start the season knowing who your number one is, and knowing who your first 11 players are. Keep with them, play your formation, and if after 20 matches or half through the season you see that it's not working, then you have to change things. And you can change players in the meantime, but you have to stick to your formation, because the only way to create a solid team where people, it's the small things in football that matter. It's the small positioning. It's the small, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those small habits of I know he's going to walk there. I know he's going to walk there. You know what I mean?
I mean, to be honest, the personnel's changed a lot, but I don't think we've changed formation much at all. We've very rarely done anything other than the 4-2-3-1. More recently, the 5-3-2, or whatever you call it, and now a 4-4-2. However, in terms of personnel, I totally agree. There's been far too many changes. Far too many changes. He even fucks about with his back four, which you should never do, in my eyes. Yeah. Your centre forward, no centre forward's been given 10 games in a row, have they? So I do fully see that. On Sunday, Paul, do you go there to win, to dominate?
Yeah, I don't see why not. We took the game to Granada. I don't see why we can't do the same going to Elda. Yeah.
Chris, go attack him.
Yeah. And we did it against Granada and it worked.
Mm-hmm.
So I changed something that works. But exactly. But that's a bit the problem with Pellicer as well, because this is a different match. So he's going to probably invent the wheel again.
I think now
something works.
Now we've got the safety gap, shall we say? We're basically there. I think he will stick this time. Maybe I don't know if it were 4 points, the difference. I think he would fuck about with it and try and go for a point in Eldense.
Yeah. It would surprise it wouldn't surprise me if he would change it again back to 5 at the back or something like that. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Fingers crossed Sergio listens to the Geary cast and he also wants to go to Eldense for those vital 3 points. Do we have any plugs for this evening, guys? Come on, we had 1,000 last week.
Yeah.
You used them all last week, didn't you?
That was it. Yeah.
Anyway, fantastic
stuff. Something we cannot plug and not plug anything.
We can plug. I'm watching the highlights of Inter versus Barcelona from Tuesday night, and it's 3-3. And what a fucking game.
I have a very cool thing to plug. Very cool. This is amazing. Let me find it. Because I have listened to it and it's great.
Whilst Chris is trying to find his thing, what I will say to everybody is keep your eyes on TikTok. My eyes won't be on TikTok. I'm not saying I'm too old for TikTok, but it doesn't interest me. But Joe is doing a fantastic job on TikTok with some new material for the GearyCast, match day reviews, match day previews, even match day videos. So keep your eyes on that. Hopefully now Chris has found what he's looking for.
I found it. So we signed Joe, of course. We asked Joe to join the GearyCast as we really like the England B Team podcast a lot, and we found it great. We have also the other half of the England B Team podcast is Gareth Houston, and he's the host of the world's best flute podcast.
What?
A flute podcast. So if you are into flutes, and I'm not laughing.
I think a flute's like a stein, is it as well?
No, like a flute,
like a beer flute,
an instrument.
If you are into classical music and flutes, I listen to it because I got interested in when I read the thing. It's a really cool podcast.
Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, I wanted to plug that one.
That's
Okay.
more for people to
But-
dive into the mind of Chris Marquez once more.
But now we are going to plug every week. It doesn't have to be football related. I want everyone who's on the podcast to plug in the preview episode to plug something. It can be a song, it can be a movie, anything.
One plug each, though.
Yeah, one plug each.
One for
Only
fucking
one.
hours.
Oh, no, only one, and it can be a very quick one.
Well, it's that time, guys. That is it for the preview episode of the Geary Cast. The next time you will hear one of our voices, it will be voices of happiness that we have confirmed to place in Segunda for next season. I, for one, certainly hope, and I certainly think so. Paul Henhan, thank you once again, mate.
Thanks for having me on again, Luke. Vamos Malaga for the Saturday.
Chris Marquez,
Sunday.
thank you also, buddy.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Don't forget to join, subscribe. I don't know, like what people ask you to do.
Yeah, just to second what Chris has just said. Most importantly, thank you to you guys, the GearyCast listeners, the GearyCast watchers. You are the most important part of this operation, as well as Malaga, I guess. I am Luke Chambers, and you've been listening to the GearyCast review show. Hasta luego, and as always, vamos Malaga.